that is here this morning. We have a number of business leaders that have been very helpful in getting things set up. And it's so interesting to start a program that we've been like silent and incognito because of COVID and all these other things, but we've not had in-homes for a while. Quite a while, actually. So, but it's so fun to meet in person and, you know, to be eye to eye and to be able to ask questions and experience the products, etc. It's the ideal way to do it, actually. And so I want to acknowledge the business leaders that are here. I have Carolyn Whiteman, Mario and Wanda Garcia. They're local. Carolyn's in the Keys. Fabio Quintero is here in Miami, and Ken Smith is in Miami here, and Stan and I are here in Miami. And I will say that these Fabio and the Garcias are in Carolyn's group, and Stan and I are cousins of Carolyn in Shaklee. And Ken is not a cousin at all, but we appreciate it.
He's a distant cousin.
Not related in our Shaklee lineage and so forth, but it's so wonderful when we can all work together and support one another and sharing, honestly, the amazing Shaklee products and the business opportunity with everybody. The focus today is greatly on the products because actually that's how my husband and I got started many years ago. I'll just tell you a little bit about myself, and we're going to intersperse some of the other business leaders and how they got involved with Shaklee. Every story is a little different. So I personally was introduced 48 years ago. 48? Yeah, 48 years ago, 1975. I actually sponsored in May of 1975. And by November of that year, my then husband and I had the business, and within a year, I was able to quit my full-time pharmacist job because, yes, I am a pharmacist by profession. I would much rather everybody be healthy rather than with drugs, however. I was able to quit my full-time pharmacist job and be able to stay home with my daughters. So one was 1 at the time, and that's that daughter right there. And then my older daughter was like 4. So it was a blessing for me to be able to share these amazing products. There's so many stories that are created over a 48-year span that you can't even possibly mention everything. But for right now, that's where I got started. And then my husband, who we've been married about not even 2.5 years now, was introduced to, actually I'll let him tell his own story at a better time. So anyway, I'm Jan Hurley, that's Stan Goldenberg, and yes, we're married. All right, so we're going to start with a short little video, and then we're going to have Carolyn share more of her background and then the Shaklee difference and so forth. So,
is today the day you make a choice to eat better, sleep better, exercise more? Healthy living isn't some impossible goal. It's a choice you can make right now. And you don't have to go it alone. So maybe it's not when will you make the choice. Rather, when will we?
would like you to introduce yourself more. She is an amazing person, just as a person. As a leader in Shaklee, she is top notch. All right, just top notch. So she has helped so many people to improve their health and improve their financial security. She has a very large organization, and I have no idea how much you get paid annually, but it's quite a bit. So anyway, Carolyn Whiteman from the Keys.
Thank you. Well, you know, one of the things that Jan mentioned as we're introducing ourselves is we have this unique opportunity to be family, even though we're not necessarily connected. And I think that's really a powerful combination of what our community is, because in some ways we are essentially competitors. In other words, we're not all in each other's business organization, but that doesn't matter, because our common thread is really, I would say for us, it's to make the world a little better, you know, to the extent that we can ourselves.
Would you ever, Carol, if you stand a little, because he's filming from here.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
Yeah, so just in front
I
of the
didn't
whiteboard.
know I was being filmed
Yes.
too. Oh my goodness. So, my story, I live with my husband in the Keys. Our son,
You want it in English, probably.
oh, I don't care. Pictures are the same. Pictures are the same. My, our son was supported at his birth in Baptist Hospital by the pharmacist who was working in Baptist Hospital when he was born almost 35 years ago. His birthday is next week, so it just kind of gives you an idea of how long we've all known each other. And we have the good benefit of being friends and extended family here. And so I was brought into the business. I had no background in sales. I don't consider this a sales business. I have no background in science. When I finally got my degree, the last course that I took was the last science credit I had to finish in order to get my degree and to get out of college. And I think it was a geology course or something, because I wasn't gonna go into a lab, I wasn't gonna do that kind of stuff, I wasn't gonna do those math computations, I wasn't gonna do any of that stuff. So, but I backed into the business because, well, I looked at what the alternatives were. I had this college degree, I'd worked in Washington, D.C. when it was a little nicer place. I had also ended up living in the South Pacific with the Peace Corps. So among the things on my resume, I actually learned to speak a Polynesian language. So I speak the Tongan language. I did a long time ago. I can hear it, okukufefe. I can speak the language to the things that I still remember, but that in 2 cents is gonna get you nowhere, right? So I ended up back in the US, and it's like, well, what am I gonna do now? And what I knew I did not wanna do was go to work in an office and sit there 5 or 6 or 7 days a week and commute in traffic and, be inside. That did not inspire me. So my parents were living in California, and my parents were using some of these products at home. Now, you know what it's like when you go home, when you've been away from school and you go home, like you're in your mom and dad's house, but what do I use for this and what do I use for that? So I was using the laundry things and the cleaning stuff, and my mom says, don't use very much. Be very careful, this is concentrated and it doesn't pollute. I go, okay, like don't use much. So I said, well, what is this stuff? She said, I don't know, it's good for the environment. And I said, well, I'll buy some, where do I get it? And she said, I don't know. She said someone brought it to church one day and put it down and said, and so Dad brought it home, and I don't know, I got it from somebody. And I go, well, that doesn't help me. I was living in Southern California. I was 400 miles away. So I got on the phone. This is 100 years ago. When you get on the phone in the daytime and you pay long distance rates, I'm not sick, I have this I have allergy, you know. Anyway, so I paid long distance rates to call the company and find out where I could buy the products. And they sent me to someone who fortunately was our mother, our big, you know, common thread in our business. And I had this sense that this was some kind of a business where you have to go door to door, stuff like that. This was a woman. I think I had some water, but maybe it was more. This was people who lived in the Beverly Hills. Picture this: 3-car garage, circular driveway. Over the garage was an apartment, and the apartment, in that lived the Japanese Hawaiian couple that were the housekeeper that cared for the home. They had 4 kids, and their oldest son had just left for Harvard Law School. That didn't sound to me like a door-to-door business. So they introduced me to the rest of the products and said, these are environmentally safe, they come from nature, there's a philosophy that we want to not harm nature, we want to use the very best ingredients, and we want to do it as naturally as we can. Well, this was kind of strange at that time. I mean, people didn't talk that way. But I said, okay, I'll use this stuff. And the very first thing they did is they introduced me to the protein shake. And I said, I don't drink that stuff. I said, I'm bulletproof. I mean, I'm running. My then husband was training for the Boston Marathon. It's like, I don't need any of that stuff. I said, besides that, there's no difference between natural and synthetic and all these different kinds of pills and everything. And, but I started it. Actually, it was the housekeeper who, in her broken English, introduced me to a protein shake. And she came up, listen, we'll get a protein shake maybe in a nice little cup. She comes with a silver platter and a crystal glass and comes around and serves protein shake. Have protein shake, try it. Well, I can't say no, but she says, you use now. She said, you try, you feel good now, you feel better. You use 30 days, ask Ms. Loomis. That's the most sophisticated presentation that was given to me. And I go, okay, I'm gonna show you it doesn't work for me. So I took it, I used it. The first one that she fixed for me tasted great. After that, I took it home, I didn't pay attention. I put too much in, I don't know what I mixed it in, it didn't taste great, but I used it. And it took me about 2 days before it was easier to wake up in the morning. I'm not a morning person. It was easier to wake up in the morning. And in the middle of the day, like 2 o'clock, instead of that little sinker where, you want a little, cafecito or something, went away. I just had energy during the day. And for me, I lost my cravings for carbs. I don't care about sugar. I mean, you could put, candy in front of me and desserts and everything. I don't care about that. But I do crave carbs. When I start getting that way, I will think about pasta, bread, potatoes, that sort of thing. And if I'm hungry, I will sit down at lunch before I've even ordered, and I go to the bread or the crackers or whatever's in the middle of the table. Does this sound familiar? That went away. So I proved to myself that I was getting results. And then, because I was in limbo, we had just moved, I didn't know what I was going to do. And so they invited me to come to a little event like this. And I'm going, okay. What happened is they brought me, so I couldn't not come. They picked me up and brought me, and I sat there and I listened, and whoever the person was that was speaking was not very impressive. Going through about the business and all the things that you can do.